Oh, note to self, at some point in the near future, get a mic cover to try and lessen some of my sound.
Oh, for sure. I completely agree. Yeah, I know my sound's probably not that great. It's okay. But yeah. Looks like we are streaming. Sounds good. We are streaming.
Yep, all good.
All right then. Everybody here?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Sear-Sha. You compile a group of adventurers together for the day after your first sortie out, and you very easily, convince others to kind of join you up. Melek is kind of focused on his own thing and kind of passes the torch and says, "Go ahead and go for it," and you take the initiative. As it sounded, Boozer was ready to join. A newcomer or someone you hadn't really noticed before in the camp, a fellow who is going to describe himself now. Lewis, tell us what your character looks
like. Slightly tan skin, brown hair, hooded cloak, lots of leather work in his armour. Not that it is armour, but a lot of leather work in his clothing. A strange staff that he likes to use.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, you were in Hilton at its fall, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. So he's been in the camp, but hasn't really been a vocal, go gung-ho person. But as you were kind of seeking out other individuals, he joined up. The Tabaxi, known as Shadow, a regular amongst the cavern camp, joined your cause, was ready for a sortie. And another individual who we haven't had much chance to talk, Tao, and I see what you're trying to do there with the image. That's fine. Just they can see the image, but I just more or less prefer just a description. You there?
You ready for me?
Yes, sir.
Very low.
Can barely hear.
Tawa, go ahead.
I'm going to try to turn my volume up.
Okay. For those of you, if you want to assist him in that, if you right-click on his name, you can change his user volume.
Right.
Better?
A little bit.
Now, I've got it cranked all the way up. So.
I can hear him on max now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it set to max as well.
So just tell us a little bit about Chi.
Chi is Aasimar. A fallen Aasimar. Purple eyes, dark tan skin, long white hair, shaved around the sides and the back. Black and red armor. With a black and red shield and a symbol in the middle of it.
Okay. And the holy symbol, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. There aren't really many devout in our group, with the exception of Boozer. Boozer, if you want to go ahead and give it a religion check, you can.
Sure. My amazing religion.
Yeah, you're not terribly familiar with the deity.
This is why I brought a second paladin.
Yeah. Fair. You're not terribly familiar with the deity. It does kind of have like a fire motif to it, the symbol, but you're not sure. And we haven't had much chance to discuss. I've had a lot of hours I've been working, but luckily I don't have to work tomorrow, so it's a little better. But Tao, Chi, just a couple of clarification points, because I know a lot of people have horses and they may have the wrong idea about the camp. It's called the Cavern Camp simply because you guys are inside of a deep Underdark cave. Like you are deep in the earth at this point, near a dwarvish city in those mountains.
This is just a buggery.
What's that?
The horse was just us picking.
Oh. No problem. I just want to make sure there's clarification for just my own sake. That said, though, there's two kind of methods you could have came to the Cavern Camp. The town of Hilton, which was just sacked, is where most of the people came from, and kind of joined up under the Dwarf Lord Varn Ashbraid to retake this city because it's currently a problem for any forces that want to move down the Dwarf Road. Or you could have been coming down the Dwarf Road and basically, since the outside of it is closed off, decided to join up with this band of reprobates to assist them in their endeavor. So whichever method you prefer. I would like to know just now, I mean, if you have an idea or if you need time to think about it, that's fine. But if you know right away, I would like to know that.
What? I'm sorry.
So would you have been a survivor of the attack on the town of Hilton? Or would you have just came down the Dwarf Road and since you can't exit the way you were going, you joined up?
Actually hunting a fiend and somehow stumbled upon this area.
Okay, so you would have been moving through the Dwarf Road to find that fiend, and then came across this strange group of people layering down here. Perfect. And they would have, asked who they are. Sear-Sha would have asked who she could have. And you guys are going to head back into the dwarf city of Dighgrum, or also known as Anaxum, to some of the people from last session. You travel back to the layered out, crushed out temple, head through it to the back wall where the cave is present. And on your way through, you can see Farron and a couple of other individuals kind of heading your direction, a total of 5 people. It would be Farron, Lelivos, Typhon is back in the city as he claimed. It would be Krun, Krusk, who was in your adventure last time, and Dugat, bunch of half-orc barbarians, and Farron. It seems that they all have large pails of water and are heading back towards the camp. You knew that they were here and basically were expected to kind of meet with them on your way up. And they don't seem to be harried or anything ill towards them. They have a lot of water for the camp, though. Buckets and buckets of it. And then you head back to that same area that you recall before, the cave that kind of leads inwards, a bit of a narrow space. It looks like the cave has actually been blocked off with a rock. The rock that was near it before, it looks like someone pushed the rock into place. You can see that it would be hard for someone on the inside of it to move it, but for people on the outside, you can kind of just, with a couple of people, maybe move it or muscle it aside so you can go in.
So, Shadow would look to the paladins and he would step forward to try to help.
Oh, sorry. Someone blocked it since we've been here?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it looks like... Remember how there was that rock that you went around to go to? Yeah,
well,
they basically pushed it.
Did they block it? Did we not unblock it?
Information before, so basically they blocked it because you guys said that there were some creatures inside of the cave that you did an accurate visual sighting of behind that door.
Oh, that's true. I thought we didn't actually finish clearing it out.
Can I see past it? Is there any cracks that allow me to see?
Well, yeah, the rock itself can be easily moved aside. It looks like the way it's been set up, someone rather cunning did it so that if you were inside of a hole and were trying to push out on it, it would be difficult. But on the outside of it, you can kind of push it to the side and kind of roll it away from the hole itself.
Well, I'll try and...
Yeah,
I'll help as well.
between the three of you, little less room for the tabaxi, although you can kind of climb up onto the stone with your cat-like grace and kind of push up against it. The three of you easily move it aside. After doing so, each one of you kind of feels that you could have done it yourself. It seems that the way they set it, it's easier to kind of get it out of the way than it would be to if you were inside. Anyways, you guys head in.
Before we do, I do have some ink and paper on me. I'd like to leave a note and kind of. Does anyone have an arrow or something? I can just put it up against the cave wall there, just to kind of mention that we are in the cave right now.
I'll just prestidigitation like a small, little sharp point, so that she can use to just go here, take that.
Attack effectively. Sure.
Yep.
And you scribble out a message stating that Sear-Sha survey team is inside, or.
Oh, is that what you wrote, Lewis, or?
Oh,
I thought Lewis was writing it. Sorry.
no, he was getting you attacked so you could pin it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm just gonna write that the search or our survey team has entered, and I'll list. There are 5 of us. Please leave the entryway open, and I will sign my name.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry.
No problem. So that's perfectly fine. You guys move into the place. Now, are you guys... I know I'm going to get a variety of answers here, and I know some of them might be funny, but I'm going to ask Shadow the Veteran first. Are you moving in quietly? Are you taking the lead? Or are you holding back?
So Shadow would suggest a marching order where he would move ahead of the group a little bit. Are the paladin? Is there 2 paladins? Is that right?
2, correct.
And they're in heavy armor.
Yep.
Yep. So he was going to want to move ahead a little bit to try to be quiet, and then report back.
Sear-Sha is the current survey team leader, and yeah, she's kind of fresh and new to you, and you probably, if you are the type that gets offended by rank placements easily, you might be, but you would realize that she is the current mastermind of the group. So
that's fine. So I would check with her. I'd check with her about that plan.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So I don't know how you want to arrange behind, but he would maybe scout a little bit ahead so that he could have some stealth and cover.
You would know that the hallway breaks into a 10-foot wide hallway, Sear-Sha. My assumption, right. I'm just going to presume that you and Ray Castro are going to be in the back, and the 2 paladins will be up front. And then the cat will be 30 feet up ahead. Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good. And while I guess we're walking in, I'd like to mention that, the creatures that we did see last time, just kind of give a heads up to everyone so that they do keep their eyes open.
And so what were they?
Okay, so we had the ooze. Gosh, what are they called?
Black pudding.
Black pudding, thank you. And trying to think of the name of the giant bug here.
There's pipes that are constantly producing black pudding. So we killed an Umber Hulk and
Oh,
good.
There
we go.
Leave that one alone. Yeah.
I can divine sense if we want to see if there's anything evil around us.
And there's probably some servitors of the aboleth somewhere in there.
Undead.
Beautiful. So if you want a divine sense, that would be great. But I'm going to want to actively sort of search and stealth.
Perfect. So go ahead for divine sense. There doesn't appear to be any kind of glow or anything. There doesn't appear to be any kind of emanations. There is the ever lingering presence of the aboleth just throughout, but it's not undead, celestial, or fiend or anything to that effect. But it does still kind of, for some reason, seem to be kind of picking up on your divine sense radar. But it's emanating throughout the whole of Dighgrum. That said, Shadow, go ahead and throw me a stealth check.
While Shadow does go ahead, I do have message as a cantrip, so every so often I would like to throw that just to make sure he's still with us.
Yep. So you're hearing the whispers of the water ganassi in your cat ears.
Yep.
And you move on ahead. You come to point where you're well ahead of the other group, and you've been moving over these grates in the hallway. You realize that stepping on the grates would alert people to your presence because they're kind of set loosely in the stone setting. Beyond this simple attempt to try and detect you, you come around to a corner. To your left side, there's a door that's slightly open, and from what you can tell, is filled with ice. And to your right, there appears to be a hallway that leads to a cracked floor and some other stuff. The main thing, see just around the corner there, creature kind of standing guard in front of a double door. To you is that it's a fish man, and I don't mean that it's like a.
Like,
I mean to say that he is a man, is a fish.
gross. Okay, so I'm definitely unseen. I would probably. Does the message allow me to talk back, or is that one way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if it's great, super. I would definitely want to talk back and mention that what's going on. So if they could quietly come up behind me, we'd probably have a better chance. Unless you want me to go up on myself and start the battle with a sneak attack, and then you come to my rescue. You know.
Go ahead and drop down one square. You're just kind of peeking around the wall there.
Yeah, I'm at the moment. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I see it. Top right.
Yeah, it's kind of the top right, you guys. If you're looking on the black screen.
So go down one square. I'm sorry. Go like this.
Yeah, that's fine. So you would have seen down the hall and kind of been able to look around. This fish guy is completely by himself, and he's kind of just. You're just looking at him. He looks like he's depressed.
Like he's depressed.
Yeah, he's got like sharp teeth in his mouth, but he doesn't look feral or anything. His fish eyes are kind of like moving around, but he just kind of more often than not is kind of staring down at the floor. He has a little spear in his hand, and yeah, he's just a fish guy.
Now, he's described this to us. Is there something I could roll maybe to try to figure out what this creature is, just by off his description?
Sure. Go ahead and make me an insight check.
All right, we got two paladins. What else we got?
2 paladins, a sorcerer, a rogue, and a warlock, I believe.
Okay, while they're doing this, I want to go ahead and cast aid on the rogue, sorcerer, and warlock.
Okay, during the descent down, basically as a setup. Okay, go ahead and click the aid spell, or just let them know what it does, so they can gain those effects.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So would the divine sense that the paladin tried earlier indicate whether or not this creature is evil?
So he would have told you on the way down, I assume, because when he did use divine sense, he got no emanations of celestial, fiend, undead, anything inside of this place. This fish man doesn't appear to be. He just appears to be standing guard.
So, not having been in this place before, I'm going to sort of defer to Sear-Sha and sort of mention, what I see and sort of wait for instructions.
I'm just trying to recall, so I rolled an insight to see if I can recall any such water creature that I would know of.
So you would know that based on his description, which you can basically, understand pretty well, the creature is one of two things, but more likely one of them. It's either a Sahuagin, which is like a shark man or like feral fish man, or it's a kuo-toa, which are kind of subterranean fish folk who are more often than not evil, but not like classified as such. The kuo-toa is the one that you're thinking it's more or less like, because he didn't say anything about shark-like creatures.
Okay, and so they lean more towards evil. So I'm just going to warn Shadow to just be careful, wait for us to get up there.
Sure, in the same way that like tribal humans or tribal dwarfs or even dwarfs or goblins lean towards evil. Yeah.
I don't recall them being here last time, so I'm a little confused as to why he's there now.
Okay. Based on his description of where he's at and just kind of looking at where he's at, the door that was locked that you couldn't get through and you heard the weird noises from and the splashing sounds, it appears that he's guarding that door.
All right, I'll let the party know that we move ahead to Shadow there. Let's try to be as quiet as possible.
Okay, everybody make a stealth check.
Sure thing.
Including Shadow?
No, you're good. You're invisible for the rest of the session.
Reyes begins to whistle quite loudly.
Is it possible to climb up the wall if I hear that they're making a clatter?
Well, if you'd said that before they started rolling dice, I would.
Of course, I know. I understand. I understand.
The ceiling's only 10 feet high.
Okay.
When the Umberhold came out of the floor the last time, it was actually scraping against the ceiling, if you recall. But anyways, as you guys go ahead and move forward, and everybody move your speed just straight down. Should be a total of 5 squares if you're running to stay in unison. But as they're doing so, you hear the sound of metal shaking inside of steel, as if someone was stepping on like a loose grate. Because someone is stepping on a loose grate. And also you hear the sound of plate and chain just shing, shing, ringling. And you also hear, and this is just for lulls, this shh, hey you guys, shh, coming from a female voice. But as those sounds are kind of coming up, so does everyone else. But as those are happening, the fishman kind of, and like a red exclamation point appears above his head. And he kind of looks over in your direction. He doesn't seem to see you because you're doing that solid snake thing. And it looks like he's going to start running into the double doors. Do you want to do anything before he does?
Yeah, I'm going to attack him.
Okay. Go ahead and just take a turn. You have a surprise round.
Great. So I'll step 1. I'll step 2. And I will do this.
Don't think Reyes has
Okay.
moved.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you intend to kill, maim, or just incapacitate?
Incapacitate.
Okay.
Is that a hit?
That is a hit. Go ahead and roll sneak attack damage as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. You guys, as you're making dumb noises, you hear, and then you see Shadow kind of like blur around the corner, and you hear a as he bashes the creature in the head with his pommel. The fish is knocked out unconscious at your feet.
Beautiful.
His eyes are hectas, and there's stars floating around his head.
Seeing as we don't know
Shadow
this.
As he's salivating, he's pulling the fish around the corner, trying not to think about eating it.
Oh my god. So he pulls around the corner of this kuo-toa. It looks like a kuo-toa, just a regular good old-fashioned kuo-toa. For those of you who don't know what a kuo-toa looks like, imagine a fish, but in place of fins it has hands, and in place of back flipper it has feet.
So while he's waiting for the others to come up, he's going to start putting a gag in the fish thing's mouth and start, if he can, securing it.
Okay. So based on the size of the fish's mouth, you would need a whole cloak to gag it. You think?
Oh God.
It looks like this guy, like even as he's unconscious, he's still like breathing in a lot. It looks like him being above, you assume out of water, a fish out of water. Basically, imagine that. He looks like he's kind of
okay.
Breathing like.
Does it have gills?
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
Oh boy. Not a good roll for me, this check.
Can I go ahead and move up to him?
Yeah, feel free. And basically, since we're not engaged in combat, do whatever you like.
So I'm going to motion to the others to help me gag it and tie it up and search it.
I've got a black screen.
I'll help you with this motion check.
Scroll to the right and then scroll down a little bit. You should be able to see yourself.
Oh yeah, I found myself, but
oh, everything else is black.
Yeah.
Do you have dark vision?
Nope.
Oh,
that's
I'm just a plain human.
Everybody else does. So you light a torch, I presume?
Yeah.
All right. Now you have light. He was fumbling around in the dark. Where's everybody going? Where's everybody going? Where's everybody? Oh, okay.
I want to help him with this medicine check.
So let's search it. Does it have any kind of keys or anything like that on it?
No.
Shadow would sort of peek around the corner while they're tying it up. And is there any motion or sound coming from the door that it was guarding?
Also no.
Okay, great. Good shape.
Reyes is just going to spend a second tapping this grate with his staff.
Okay, yeah,
just to test the weight of it.
It's making a lot of noise.
Don't do that.
But as you're inspecting it, and everyone's like, especially Sear-Sha is like, you guys are all loud. I'm so stealthy.
Unbelievable.
You can't win. It's like, I need a party of people who can survive against a number of Hulk's gaze attack. I don't get one. What's gonna happen this time? Who knows? Anyways, the grate makes a lot of noise, but you notice, Reyes, that underneath it there appears to be flowing water, and it's flowing from the east wall to the west wall. It's not like rushing or by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems to be flowing underneath the wall.
I explained that to the others.
And then Chi kind of steps down to help you, inspect it and gag it as well. And comes up with a pretty simple solution. Instead of trying to put things inside of its mouth, trying to kind of seal its mouth with like a tight cord and a bit of cloth instead of like a bunch of cloth. And it does have gill, and it's mouth breathing. So it'll be able to breathe, but it won't be able to like.
And I'm sorry, I don't know.
Correct. Yeah.
I want to tell Shadow if we want to revive him a little bit, I can try tell him to answer your question and not scream. See if we get information out of him.
Yeah, sure. What is he? What's behind the door, for example?
We should probably move to the other room first, just
Well,
so we're not out in the hallway.
Yeah, there's a room around the corner here. Let's have a look into it, and we'll drag him in.
Yeah, meet on.
Okay. Are you guys going into the first chamber then?
The one that had the
freezer,
bodies.
I think.
Yeah.
Sure. So you guys go in. Those of you who haven't been inside, you see probably somewhere around 9 tables, flat steel tables that have frozen, desiccated bodies on them. Okay. Yeah, I got him in there. Sear-Sha, you actually see something that kind of perturbs you a bit. And Boozer, you kind of notice it as well. In the back left corner, there appears to be the body of a child.
Oh.
Its head is missing.
Like fresh, or?
Oh, no. It's just you were in here before and you weren't really paying attention to like body size or anything.
It's a little girl.
After last session,
Yeah, I guess.
body seems to be familiar. Yeah.
The inscription says, if she'd only done what her mother said.
I believe the door here closes, correct?
It does.
All right. So because I know our group is loud, apparently, I'm going to shut this behind us.
And you'll notice something strange as the door seals and you kind of close it behind you. You don't really hear the ambient sounds of out there. It just seems like this room has kind of a noise cancellation, and because of your specific watery nature, you believe the reason that is because of the water flowing underneath you is kind of causing a bit of like a sound distortion within this chamber. So you don't think you'll be heard as long as you're not banging against the door.
Got it.
Shadow, if we make sure he's nice and tied up, and then we'll revive him, and I'll try to use command on him.
Well, I think, if you want to, like, hold off on command, because command we can do if he's not willing to, right? We can see if he's willing to offer anything first.
Good call.
Whilst they're doing that, Reyes would just like to investigate the bodies.
Okay, so you guys are focusing on interrogating the fish. Meanwhile, Reyes, you're going to kind of investigate the bodies. Okay, go ahead and just make an investigation check for me there, buddy. And then for those of you guys, I assume...
Can I help him?
You're not going to interrogate?
Oh, that's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
I'm not good at intimidation. That's. I'm not sure if that's the.
You're a awesome, cool cat man. So
all right.
Stand over the fish man, and you probably just be intimidating by presence. That said, you untie the and basically I don't know if I explained it before, but what I'm saying is you're not gagging him. You're basically tying him off like an alligator.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You untie him and kind of like resuscitate him. He's just knocked unconscious. And when his big fish eyes flutter open, he kind of looks at everyone and goes, and you guys don't understand what he's saying.
Oh, crap.
Dear.
Oh, actually, sorry, apologies. Sear-Sha, you speak Aquan, don't you?
Yes.
You understand him.
Wow, nice.
He's saying, what are you guys? Who are you? What is... the master! The master!
I apologize, and I said you'll have to forgive my companions. We didn't have such a great experience last time. We were a little cautious.
Oh, did the master send you?
The master, I question.
The master! And then he kind of looks around, and then makes a gesture like just kind of waving his arms like tentacles.
I'm going to let everyone know he speaks of the master. Are any of you familiar with this?
Nope.
Would it be religion? Cult?
No. Everybody just make a raw intelligence check, and then I'm gonna, while you guys are sussing that out, I'm gonna talk to this Lewis kid. You go searching about, and you kind of spend some time. It looked like the two that you know have been down here before are kind of looking at the corpse in the back left corner. So you go and check that out. It seems to be a child of a frozen, like freeze-dried, dead body of a drow woman, girl, young girl. You start inspecting the other bodies, kind of going over them, and eventually you come to find that one of them has a clenched fist, and you kind of look to it, and you think that there's something inside its grasp. What do you do?
Rigor mortis set in?
No, it's frozen solid, dude. We're talking about, like, have you ever left chicken in your fridge for like a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their bodies are that times 100.
I'm gonna, because I can heat stuff up with presentation. I'm gonna heat up the hand a bit, and then just try and see if I can prise.
Sure.
Whatever.
As you do so, the rest of you guys are kind of hearing this snapping sound, and you end up with a handful of fingers and the contents of what it had in its hand. Inside its hand, it appears to have what looks like a small box. It appears to be either diamond. It kind of has like an almost clover-like shape to it, with points at the clovers instead of like rounded edges. And it seems to have strange markings on each one of the. It appears to be like a small. I'd say the size of it's probably like a ring box. But yeah, it appears to have kind of like these weird 4 petals sectioned off, and there's small, like, strange symbols on each of those petals.
Does there seem to be any way to open it? Has it got like a lock on it, or
so
could it just be opened?
You're looking at it, and it appears that it's actually 2 pieces that are kind of connected in the middle somehow. And it looks like basically, if you were to break it apart or figure out how to separate it, you would have 2 sides with like a small stem in the middle and like the petals on the outside. Does that make sense?
To a degree.
Okay. But you don't know how to separate them. You're not sure how that's supposed to work. Other than that, it doesn't appear that there's any way to open them.
Does it look like us hitting it with a blade of some kind might open it?
You give it a go?
Maybe Shadow can inspect it?
Do you attack it with the blade?
Also, I'm packed blade to my hand and whack it first.
And is it considered magical, your weapon?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, if it's not, when you strike it, it actually causes the blade to get chipped very heavily, and everyone to kind of look at you confused.
This weapon counts as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage.
It strikes, but it seems to deflect off of it and neither damage. As that's happening, you guys kind of look back at him, but you all come to the same conclusion, with the exception of Boozer, Sear-Sha, that. But Chi, you've been in the camp a little bit, and Shadow, you've been here. Chi, during your time, you've heard that there's this creature known as the Sleeper that rules over this city. This creature is a creature you assume that is afraid of, called the Master, and it's asking you of it.
I don't.
So we know then that the master it's referring to is the aboleth.
The aboleth that's in the center.
So what do we say to this creature? Do we say yes or no?
Entirely up to you. Sear-Sha, as they kind of basically tell you what they think, you think about the way that it's inflecting on the word master, and it's not so much as an honorific, it's more as a, I guess the better way to say it would be like taskmaster is the word it's kind of using.
Okay.
I'd say the answer is no then.
Yeah, I'm going to inform it no. We are not here because of the master.
You must run. You must get out of here then. If the master knows. The master's servants are outside. Did they see you? Did they see you?
Oh. I'm going to relay that back. I guess I guess I will relay it back that to Boozer because he's the only one from the party last time.
Oh. Gibu know what to do. You might need to speak to Noonsa.
Noonsa? Who's Noonsa?
Noonsa. And he kind of lowers his head in like a weird, respectful kind of manner. You assume Noonsa is someone important.
Where do we find Noonsa?
The doors that I guard.
He says, and I'm going to relay back to the party, there's another here. This Noonsa he speaks of. Shadow, do you know what doors he was in front of? Ones he was guarding?
Yeah, isn't it the door to the west, John?
It's straight south.
Oh, straight south. Okay, straight south.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to also ask him before we leave, what is this Noonsa? Is he one of you?
And nods his head.
Ask him if he could introduce us to the Noonsa.
Will you introduce us to the Noonsa?
Yes. But I tell you, if you are not servants of the master, you should go. Be safe. Tell no one you came to speak to Noonsa. Go.
And I will relay that as well. He's asking us to get out of here.
Maybe we can say that we're here to help.
Perhaps we can help you. If you introduce us.
You must speak to Noonsa. Gibu no. If you let him, he'll start to kind of
go ahead.
Door.
Back after all that.
But give it through the door and heading across the hall to the other doors. If you guys follow him.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We should have our paladin up here.
On the opposite side, the doors open, and Gibu kind of leads you. Thing that into is kind of covered. It's kind of a greenish looking water, kind of like the water, or nasty-ish looking water, like the water that you've seen all throughout Dighgrum, with the exception of the pool that you just found recently. And it looks like there are more of his kind kind of perched up in areas. Some of them are kind of battering at stone.
Hello?
Did he DC?
John?
When did it?
We lost you after something about babbling?
They were perched. There was water.
Okay, he's back in and out.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now, yeah.
Okay, that was weird. Okay, battling.
Perched on something?
Yeah, there's several of them kind of perched on different islands that kind of jut out of the water. Here, I'll give you a visual. And across the way, you can see what looks kind of like a light glowing just dimly. It's not really emanating out a lot of light, but there appear to be a number of them kind of circled around the fire. Looks like they're attempting to kind of keep warm. Some of them are looks like they're working at the stone in that bottom left corner there, and they see Gibu enter in, and then you guys follow in behind them, and their attention immediately changes from whatever task they're engaged in to looking at you and your company. Gibu kind of gestures for the bridge, and then starts to move across it.
I'd like to kind of just, how are they gazing upon us? Is it more of a shock, surprise, angrily?
They seem to be just curious. One kind of swims up to you guys and kind of pops its head out, very Zora-esque, and just kind of looks at you guys. Did it put all the numbers down? It sure did. It's fun.
I'm gonna wait forward so the paladins go ahead.
Okay. Boozer looks like he kind of wanders on across the bridge. Do me a favor, buddy, and make me wisdom saving throw. Just you.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You, your iron guts kind of save the day as you kind of wander out across the bridge, and it starts to kind of shake underneath your boots. You kind of have this weird feeling like the alcohol and whatever rations you've had for the day are kind of sloshing around in your belly, but you kind of suck in your gut, and it kind of just stops floating around.
Lead on, Fishman.
The Fishman kind of moves over to this one over here, and it kind of stops, and they start speaking in the language again. Sear-Sha, you overhear them say, "He wishes to speak to Noonsa." He says, the other one says, "Gibu, who are they that speak to Noonsa? Noonsa no want to speak to them. They are master's servants? No. I told them to leave, but they did not leave." And then you see a larger fish man kind of wander around the fire and come to the shore of the other island across the way there. And he says, "Who are you, not servants of master?" And he's speaking in common. "Who are you that come to speak to Noonsa?" Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep. I'm secretly laughing that the cat is trying to offer the fish food.
Come here.
Is he drooling during this?
He's drooling, yeah, he's probably drooling, but he's trying to control. He's like wiping it off on his sleeve.
I'm gonna elbow him.
But actually, I think it's a good idea to offer them some food.
Yeah, I'm going to mention we mean no harm.
Then go. Go back to where you come from. The master will come if you stay, surely. And he points to the dwarf and he says, he is marked by the master.
Booster?
Me?
I point over to the dwarf.
And the fish is nodding his head. The other fish are looking at him going, oh, like surprised.
I'm just going to take a quick peek at Booster.
I just shrug. Like,
Make an Arcana check, Sear-Sha. You don't know what he means by marked, and you don't see anything strange or off about Boozer since you first met him. You don't know what he's talking about.
What are your kind doing here?
We are digging.
Digging for?
We are seeking out the dwarfs' old pipes and relics.
What are they saying?
At that, my eyes a little bit glow. Have you seen the master?
Oh, not in recent times.
And he leaves you people alone?
Yes, because we dig for him.
Have you found anything yet?
No. Noonsa's tribe has not found any. Many of Noonsa's were turned into the scum by the master. And they serve him still. But these, my closest clutch, were allowed to stay with Noonsa. And we dig for the master.
Is he referring to the things we saw last time?
Oh. Do you explain what you saw last time?
Yeah.
The Umber Hall? Or are you talking about the puddings?
The scum.
Yeah, the
I think
scum.
she's talking
Shadow
about
what they are.
the mysterious, the one above the scum, the bestiary.
Yeah, the creatures that you explained to him that you saw up above, those aren't. He doesn't know what those are. He says, "I don't know what those are."
Because I haven't run into scum itself. So unless someone else in the party has.
He explains scum, and Shadow would kind of go, "Yeah, I know what that is. That's what they did to Drum."
Yep, we're drunk.
And basically, those of you who are just listening into the side conversation who haven't overheard it or watched the other videos, basically what they're explaining is a process that the aboleth, which is a big fish with tentacles on its head, it basically, when it touches you or like breathes its mucus onto you, it turns your skin into a translucent form and takes over your mind and body so that you serve it. And you become a scum or an aboleth servitor. Noonsa only wished to leave. Noonsa does not want to dig. Neither do Noonsas. You stand against the master?
Well, we do not serve him. We are not here to serve the master.
But he said that one of his died. So, are you against him? Or are you like us, soon to be his servants?
I serve no one but a Gweezy. So I guess I'm against him.
We could help them leave.
He looks over to the dwarf as he says that. He says, Agusi, You serve the giant god? And you're kind of like, wait, what? Why the fuck does this fish dude know about my stuff? He says, you serve the giant god?
Aye.
Are you here seeking out Ionis, the cloud giant?
I am not, but tell me more.
High on the summit above Dighgrum is the cloud giant Ionis. He, before, spoke with us when we attempted to flee. He lives up on the high summit of the mountain, in grass and tree.
Does Noonsa and his people wish to leave?
Noonsa and his people wish to leave, but where we could go from here we knew not. And the aboleth, or the master, my brain did a fart, the master would send our own after us to kill us, unless we bring him the relics and pipes he seeks.
I'm going to turn to my party.
Is the water in here nasty? Or is it like
Yeah.
okay.
It's aboleth water.
They've become slaves, is what they are.
Noonsa, Gibbo, these ones no kill you. You trust them? Gibbo kind of looks back to Sear-Sha and then looks back to Noonsa, nods his head. Gibbo, trust girl. Gibbo, no others, but girl, trustworthy. Noonsa nods his head. If it is your wish to save my people, they will go with you. Noonsa will stay. Noonsa will answer to the master.
Yeah, we can bring them back to camp.
Yeah.
We got cleaner water they can swim around into.
It looks like all of at the mention of this, like the one standing next to him kind of starts speaking in the Aquan tongue, and you can see that he's kind of telling everybody else like what's going on. And immediately after, they all start picking up packs and satchels. Some of them jump into water and swim over to like different islands to pick up other things. And they all seem to be just looking at you like bright-eyed and ready to go.
It's like we're bringing back fish people.
Have you ever gone to an aquarium, like a PetSmart or whatever, and you like look at the glass and they're all like, "Oh yeah!" That's basically the feeling you get.
Feeding time.
Yeah.
Well, I can't leave him now.
Noonsa says, "If you wish to continue into this place, I know not how to unlock its secrets, but there is a door beyond the ice."
Oh, nice. Okay, great. Would they expect us to take them all the way back to town, or could we take them just away from this place a bit?
It looks like they're already kind of moving past everybody towards the back door, and Noonsa's kind of talking to the other one. Sear-Sha, you pick up on what they're saying, and it sounds like they already know where you come from. And he basically just told his clutch to go to your cavern again.
Great.
I'm going to ask Noonsa, will you not come with us? Are you sure he will seek you out there?
He will seek me out here.
Can we send a note with them so that they're understood when they arrive?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that would be a smart idea.
Yeah, I do have paper and ink on me, and
Okay. So you hand.
So they're not slaughtered.
Go ahead, Reyes.
Sorry.
I could go potentially with them because I'm more tired than I thought.
Oh, are you?
I would be.
You're wanting to cut out?
Yeah, I'm a bit more tired than I thought
Okay.
I'd be. It's 1 a.m.
No problem.
Sure.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. out there. Okay, Lewis, go ahead and drop out. That's fine. And we'll say that Lewis's character Reyes is going to lead the fishman back to town.
Nice playing with you, Lewis.
yeah.
Good night.
We'll get weekend games going for you, man. I'm sorry. I heard.
just thought I'd be more awake than I was, but I had a busy day. So,
Yeah, I feel that.
cheerio.
All right, good night.
If you want, there was a third paladin waiting out there that you can send back.
Ooh, there's a thought.
It shouldn't be necessary, and that guy has way too much experience as it is. I hope you're watching, Chad. I hope you're watching. But yeah, the fish people leave with Reyes, and Noonsa stays with you guys, and basically explains to you, there's a door beyond the ice, but we cannot pick through the ice as the ice continues to grow and grows faster than we can dig.
This is the tunnel we were at last time?
Beyond there, he says, it is through those doors, and he points behind him. This way. There's also a strange metal cage just around the corner that we cannot figure out. Very strange indeed.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's have a look. And I'm going to actually freeze the water there so that my companions can walk over and not go in.
Okay. They've got the bridges here, and then you'll just basically make an ice bridge here.
Okay.
Yep. And you guys head across. So when you get across the way, you'll see that there's the double door on the left that kind of heads north and out of this map. And then there's the small narrow passage to the right that leads into a room, 15 by 10, that appears to have a graded cage floor, a graded cage ceiling, and a strange device kind of in the center of it. Do you see what I'm talking about, Shadow?
I see the grates. I don't see much more than that.
Yep. If you walk into that chamber, you have grates on your ceiling, which are 10 feet above you. You have grates on the floor, and there's a device on like the left side or what would be the west wall. It looks like a white circle on the map there. If you look down the grates,
so actually, I want to look down the grates before I actually walk on top of them. I just want to see what's happening.
It goes down about 50 feet, and you see stone at the bottom, but the stone seems to have these strange spikes coming up out of it. But they don't look like they go through the grates. They look like they would stop, like the way the spikes are set up, they kind of have like a T-top, like a bladed T-top. And it looks like the cage would settle on top of them.
So, like a sort of transport device?
Yeah, some sort of device that lowers you down. You would assume that this grate, or this cage that you're standing in is like an elevator.
Okay, and so I guess I'll walk in and examine the device.
Okay. It's pretty simple to you, but it may not be as simple to others. It appears to be kind of a key mechanism. If you turn it, you would basically turn it and be able to kind of continue to rotate it into different positions. The best example I can kind of give you is like a tumbler lock or a oh my brain, why am I like a locker door lock. I'm trying to think what a dial lock.
Yeah. So I looked to the others and said, should I?
How stable does this look?
You all are standing on the metal of it, and it doesn't seem to be bending or bowing at all, even with the weight of the dwarf, the paladin.
Go for it.
We've come this far.
Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to manipulate the lever to a way I think would change it to lower it down.
Sure. Go ahead and make a thieves' tools check, because you'll actually start bringing out your tools using tapping devices and kind of a small listening device to kind of figure out how the tumblers hit where they need to go.
And 2 weeks later, people wonder why we didn't return.
About 20 or 30 minutes later, actually, he manages to set it, and it clicks loudly. Oh, I can hardly hear you, guy.
Say that again, Chief.
Said I've hunted demons across this land. I want them to get killed by an elevator.
Right.
That's life. But yeah, it clicks, and the floor starts to fall out from underneath you, not violently, just slowly. And the ceiling as well, as if you were inside of a small moving room. Eventually, it comes down to its descent, and the wall to the south is no longer like present. It opens. It comes to an opening, and inside is a granite stone floor and a very large, just vat with pipes running all along it.
Oh boy.
On the far side of the pipe, there appears to be a hole in the floor, and the hole in the floor seems to have a large metal door sealing it off.
What is the temperature of the room?
Cold, frigid, very frigid. In fact, ice is actually kind of pooling on the surface of everything. Just a bit of rime everywhere. The chamber that you were just in, though, was kind of warm. It had the same temperature as the rest of the city.
So Shadow wonders if this is what's creating the ice that might be blocking the door that the fish creature was talking about. Is there any way to examine it to see if there's like a shut-off mechanism?
So you go over to the pipes that are actually connected to the door, and that's the only place that you can actually find anything that looks like it might move or be manipulatable. And it appears that the places where the pipes enter into the floor here, around them they have these wheels with handles in them that you can turn and move, loosen or open or what have you. Yeah. How would you like to begin?
So Shadow relays that to the others and asks if this is a good plan of action.
Well, I'm going to ask, how long does it look since these have last been moved? I'm assuming a very long time.
Oh yeah, hundreds of years.
Perhaps Boozer would know, is this something your kind uses to seal something off?
I'm a farmer.
Regardless, Boozer, go ahead and make me a history check with double proficiency. So just an intelligence check, and we'll add double your proficiency bonus. Okay. And you kind of look around as she says that. Is there anything that you would know about this? And you say, I'm a farmer. And then you kind of look to it, and you realize that it doesn't have, it seems to have a very simple mechanism to it, though. These two pipes on the outside here don't actually connect to the vat. They just roll over the top of it. This pipe here actually goes to the vat. The vat appears to be where, like this big vat here, appears to be where most of the cold seems to be originating from.
So Shadow will investigate, and if he thinks it's something that's more strength-based, he'll ask one of the others to try to deal with it.
You're going to try and manipulate it?
No, he's going to sort of examine it, and if it's something that's just a matter of using strength to turn it, then he might not be the best one to do it. But if it's something more about sussing out the properties of how it works, he'll give that a go.
With just your normal, just fidgeting strength, you can move the wheel in both directions. It seems that it could go lefty-loosey or righty-tighty, whichever method you would want to engage in. So you can either close it off more or open it up more.
So there's not like a viewing port or anything in this?
Solid steel. Yeah.
Maybe if I slowly open it further, or I don't know, we could examine what's going on with the ice. Would we, be able to know what's happening when it's...
Well, real quick, just since you kind of are at a standstill, we'll go ahead and ask other people, because it sounded like she was kind of trying to investigate a bit there. Do you want to try and listen into the vat, or try and get an idea of how it might be working inside?
Yeah,
Can I look around and see if there's anything where I can open to look in?
So the only things that kind of look like they're mechanisms for opening are those wheels around the pipes on the side of the floor door.
So, well, whatever it is comes in from that side of the room and splits, and then goes, I guess you open this and it goes into the big one. And then there's pipes over here, it goes somewhere else, so I don't know.
Looks like they go up. Yep. The pipe on the far side, across from the door, looks like it goes straight up, basically the same path as the elevator you just came down.
Before we open anything, can you try hearing anything within, Shadow?
Sure.
See if there's any other sound.
Okay, if you listen to the vat, it sounds like there's like a blizzard going on inside of it. If you listen to the floor door, it doesn't really sound like there's much of sound at all, but there's kind of a strange echo to Beyond the Steel, kind of like if you were listening to like a pot full of water. It kind of has that vibe to it.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I think closing it off would be the way I'd want to do it.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, even I deal with water and cold, and this seems far more powerful than I can deal with.
Okay, so you're wanting to close off the pipe that connects from the floor like hole to the vat, correct?
Right, so I just do it sort of slowly at first just to see if there's any effect that I can notice. Maybe ask everyone else to pay attention to the device as well.
Okay. So what you hear is the sound of water kind of like slowing. Like when you're turning the faucet and you slowly are turning it off because you said you were tightening it. It sounds like the water is kind of rushing at a lower pace. As you do so, you can kind of hear like the sounds from the back kind of quieting, but then the pipes on the north and the south, both of them, start to kind of shake a bit, like boiler pipes, like when a boiler's malfunctioning. They're just kind of jangling in their frames and kind of just jostling a lot.
So maybe we could turn it back if we don't want it to explode on us.
Hold on a second. So,
what do you think?
Well, real quick, Chi, how far away are you from your mic?
About an inch and a half.
That's crazy to me, man. Because I got you on full blast, and like anytime I hear people talking over you, but I can hardly hear you before they do, so I understand where they're coming from. That's no good. Okay, so what were you going to say before someone jumped over you?
Is there any crank over here, wheel over here to turn?
No. The only devices that seem to be manipulatable in this room are the 3 wheels around the pipes that connect to the door on the floor. And then, of course, the device to manipulate for you to go back up in the elevator.
Okay, so why don't everybody...
Yeah.
And we'll try turning at the same time.
I think that's better. That might stop the rattling.
Okay. So, yeah, you slowed up on the thing, and then you guys decide to kind of turn them simultaneously. Okay. And you guys are all turning them to close them off, correct?
Well, there's only 3, right? So while I guess the 3 of them turn them, I'd like to keep an eye on these other pipes here in case they start to rattle.
Certainly. Okay. As you kind of set yourselves to that, you turn them and lock them in place. What you hear is the sound of the water stopping the flow from the hole, so Shadow's tube, and it sounds like that water is actually flowing through the pipes that you guys have connected, and actually downwards, not coming up out of the pipes. From what you can tell, it sounds like a lot of water is coming from up above and actually splashing down into the floor hole. And you also see steam start to kind of rise up around the edges of the floor door. It looks like the seals on the outside are kind of steaming outwards. And I don't mean steam like, it's on fire, we're all going to die because of the heat. I mean like if you ever breathe out in the cold air, or if you ever take a cup of coffee out into the cold, it's steaming like that would.
Good call.
I sigh, confused at Shadow's excitement for it to be warm.
All right. After about 10 minutes or so, if you guys give it the time to do it, you feel that the water from somewhere else seems to have flowed entirely down into the tube. It actually starts to kind of have like a little bit of water condensation around the rim of the door, but the door maintains its sealed state.
When you say it maintains its sealed state, what does that mean?
It doesn't open or anything, the floor door.
Can I examine it and see if I could do something to open it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and make an investigation check, but Sear-Sha, can you go ahead and make me an Arcana check?
Okay.
Okay. I'm giving you advantage on it just because of your nature. For what your presumption is that this door, the way that it's kind of blocking off and the way that the water is kind of still kind of emanating through the door means that there's a lot of water on the opposite side. And the only thing that you can think of that would have that sheer amount of water is the elemental plane of water inside of the elemental chaos. Your presumption is that this door is a material seal on a gate into the elemental plane of water.
Might want to just leave that door for now.
We're not going to go that way.
I mean, I'm okay with it, but
No. Don't like the water that much.
It appears that this door was not built in a way that has an access point or a way of opening it. You can see from the rivets that it looks like instead of not so much a door as it was a portal that's been sealed off by steel.
Wow. Okay.
okay.
All right, you guys go back upstairs.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so.
We're done here in this room.
Sure. You should be able to move right through. The elevator goes up. That's fine. But once you guys get back into the kuo-toa room, you'll note that the water is actually descended down. There's no water in the ground anymore, and there's kind of a green film all about the stone presence.
Is there anything of interest on the ground that we hadn't seen when it was covered with water?
No. Not that you can see right away. If you guys want to take the time to investigate, feel free. If you guys are all investigating, elect a candidate to be your lead, and they'll have advantage when they roll.
Yeah, I'd like to investigate. I'm not good at it.
I'm pretty good at it.
Go for it.
Go for it then.
Okay. So Shadow, you managed to find what appears to be kind of a strange device, kind of set in between the two aisleways, and it's actually kind of just laying out on the floor. If you were, submerged in water, it may just look like a loose stone, but as you kind of look at it, what it looks like is a hand, and it appears to have like a metal kind of frame to it, but on the forearm portion, there appears to be kind of like a hexagonal key lock or socket that you could probably put somewhere. So on one side of it, there's a hand, and where an elbow would be, there's basically a key lock. It looks like you could put that into something. In all honesty, if you've seen Celia in town, it looks like her hand, but covered in mucus and disconnected.
Oh, nice. So Shadow will take that and maybe just wipe off the mucus and show it to the others. Yeah.
Okay. And if you guys are heading back up to the north portion, we'll go ahead and get on with that. It's a long hallway, and just to kind of cover it up, there's still ice and such about, and it looks like there's a pathway to the west. Sear-Sha, you're pretty smart, so when you kind of look off to the left, you realize that the other side of the chasm that you were kind of burning through last session, you're on the opposite side of that now. And it looks like it continues northwards, and there was a larger hall that was frozen, and the water's still kind of dripping down. It looks like it's been kind of purged of a lot of its ice by some means. And going through this place, you see that there are on each of the walls, kind of frozen for some of them, not so much for others, but there are about 10, maybe 12 of the same kind of construct that you found inside of the waterway. These ones appear inert, and as you kind of look them over, you see inside of their barrel chest that they don't seem to have anything inside of their chest cavity.
So they're like Celia.
They're like Celia, but they don't appear to have been given that final step of the method. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
They're brainless.
Yeah.
Testing.
I can hear you. Yeah, that's a lot better. All right, you guys will move past that chamber because there really isn't much to it, and we'll go ahead and get to the fun part. Give me 1 second here. Is that okay?
Yeah, I just see the same map.
I'm asking. But did you guys hear me?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Noonsa is basically going to travel with you. I haven't moved us to a new map yet because I'm just making sure you guys are ready for it. Anyways, but basically, is Noonsa? It's okay for him to follow with you.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I didn't.
Yep.
I didn't want him to sacrifice himself anyway.
Well, he explains to you that now that the water's gone, the master can't come here anyways.
Nice.
Nice. I feel better about it now.
All right, you guys pass through the hall with the strange, automatrons and move into an open chamber. This one still has ice. It actually has a waterway passing through it that seems to have been coated, covered completely in ice. And if you guys enter into the chamber, you'll see that on the far east wall, there's a door. The door has a strange wheel in it, and it looks like it has kind of a open cylinder on the top of that spinning wheel. It's over to the right side, but there are a couple more of those automatons on beds there. Yeah.
Nudging Shadow the whole way to control himself.
He's a curious cat. He hasn't seen these automatons before. What do you know about them? He asks the others.
Oh, have you not seen Celia around the camp? And I explain about our half-orc walking around with a little robotic girl.
No.
In the Discord, right above Uru's last post, you should see a couple of pictures.
Yep.
The picture right above him, that is Celia. The automatons look like that, except there is not a brain inside of the chassis.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And then above that's the other automaton they found. That one is, what did
Bart.
Bart. Right.
So you basically have Celia's arm right now, or like Celia's arm, I should say.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yep. And there's a couple of these other automatons. On closer inspection, these ones appear to be completely like frosted over, and there's a bunch of rime over their viewing window on their chests. So you can't really tell for these ones if there is a brain or not inside of them.
What is the material that they're made out of?
Steel.
Is there a way to wipe the grime off?
It seems that the frost is actually not just on the exterior, but on the interior as well.
Can I take a couple of them?
They are pretty heavy. If you're going to take them out of the place, that'll be a bit more of an endeavor of just kind of like throwing them over your shoulder, to be sure. But yeah, eventually, if you want to kind of tie a couple of them together.
I'm gonna melt the frost.
I got plans to upgrade from iron to steel.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say I'm gonna melt the frost on one of them just to see how it reacts.
As you do so, you notice that the interior, it still has like a fluid base in it, but you can't really tell, like you can't see into what exactly is present. And as you're kind of doing so, in heating it with shape water, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're doing so. It reaches up suddenly and grasps your hand. Go ahead and make me either the dexterity saving throw, just dexterity saving. It has you in its grasp.
Let go of me.
All right, hold on a second.
Problem?
Let me just get this set up here.
I think we do have a problem.
Well, okay. I was trying to save it because Celia was nice. I shouldn't assume all of them are, but
I'm going to use a different token for it because I have yet to. Those pictures I just scanned them today, so I haven't had a chance to
No worries.
do them up. So I'm going to use this one. So if you're the Munchkin type, pay no mind to the fact that it's a shield guardian.
Yeah. So Celia is the automaton with the heart of gold? Ha ha ha.
we'll find out.
So it has a hold of Sear-Sha. I'm going to assume at this point initiatives are going to be rolled. So I'm just going to go ahead and get us onto that.
Yeah, baby.
It totally caught me by surprise.
All right, and
What's Fishman doing at this point?
he was following behind you guys. His eyes are just kind of wide looking because he's never been to this portion of the complex since the ice was just melted. And then when Sear-Sha gets grabbed, like the second that happens, he kind of moves his staff over and points it in that direction, is kind of looking over there. The religious folk, the paladin and the paladin, kind of notice that he has like a weird holy symbol on his chest. In actuality, apologies, you would actually recognize the deity immediately, Chi. It is the deity that is opposed to Ignos Kai. It's Nermode, the goddess of water.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would recognize that immediately because it's a part of your pantheon.
And that's on the construct?
No, the fish man, Noonsa, he's got a holy symbol of the goddess of water.
Oh, okay. So that he would recognize my shield symbol, too.
It doesn't look like he's paid any mind to the shield or anything. You would, being a devout of this religion, you know it's a human religion, but like it's built up from kind of an old tribal state, and some of the monstrous races worship similar gods and goddesses in your pantheon, especially Saland, the dragon god. But yeah, anywho, let's see. Descending order and top of the initiative. Shadow, you're up. As I've described it, the creature's still laying down. It has a hold of Sear-Sha's hand. Sear-Sha, you would notice too that its hands aren't like Celia's in that hers are rounded fingers. This thing has blades for fingers.
Okay, so it's made out of steel. There are three of them in total?
3 of them, but only one seems to be moving at this time.
Right, and this is a pillar over here?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so Shadow will move up here. Is it possible to target the attack at the fingers that are trying to hold on to Sear-Sha?
Don't just say I want to go ahead and attack it at its fingers.
I want to attack it at its fingers.
Separate. Yep, and then I say go ahead and attack. All right. So you hurl your attack forward at it. It kind of like hits against the guard of its hand, and the blade kind of darts off the side of it. It doesn't seem to penetrate.
So I'm going to use my offhand with the dagger.
Okay. Spinning around with the dagger, thrusting it down. Okay. You catch the hand just between like where the blade begins and the knuckle begins, and sneak attack. You actually manage to cut it in a way that it doesn't cut into Sear-Sha, and it actually allows her to wriggle her hand out of it.
Great. So I'm going to take the rest of my movement to. Is there a place here I could hide? Right here?
Yeah.
Great. So I'll do bonus action hide.
Okay. Make a stealth check. And then we'll go ahead and Chi, you turn around after inspecting where you're kind of looking at. You see that Shadow is a flare of action, and then he kind of vanishes from your sight. But you see that Sear-Sha is still pretty close to this thing.
Okay. As my bonus action, I will cast Thunderous Smite on my weapon.
Naturally. And then
and I'm using 2. I don't have my shield, and it's still strapped to my back.
Okay. 2-handed hammer blow on the prone target.
Yes.
I totally forgot about the prone part. I'm going to give it 8 damage because you totally hit it with a short sword. I'm the best GM. Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll. That will surprisingly miss. You kind of clip the table. The smite doesn't expand, like it doesn't burst, but you do see kind of like a thunderous burst as like the metal of the table actually buckles and breaks underneath your hammer blow.
I'll take my second attack and try again.
You spin like low on your frame and then twirl with your hands out to kind of bring the hammer back down again. and as it claps into its chest, you hear a loud as the Thunderous Smite detonates. Go ahead and cast Thunderous Smite for me, so I can get the damage on it.
It's 2d6.
Oh, I know, but if you click the spell, it'll just drop it on. Yeah. Oh, no, I guess it won't. I'm a liar. Just roll 2d6 if you can. There you go. Cool. And actually roll it again for me, because you crit. Cool. So 9 plus 14. Actually, real quick, 14 half 7. 7 plus 9. And double check. Thunder. Okay. All right. Okay.
And it's not a creature, it's a construct creature.
Oh, no, it's a creature for sure.
Okay. I mean, he's already prone, but he's still get pushed away.
I was actually going to give you a couple options here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you hit it kind of like square in its chest. Option the first is you can kind of send it sprawling and kind of like crumpling into the corner wall there, just throwing it back into its little alcove. Or second effect, if you want to push it straight down, it'll basically go through the table and into the ground, and it'll have to kind of get itself out of that just bit, and it'll require it's going to stand up from prone all of its movement.
But will it let go of Sear-Sha?
She's already free.
Oh, okay. Straight down.
So Sear-Sha, you watch as the hand kind of releases from you. You hear a prayer from behind you. A hammer blow miss, a hammer blow swing and hit, and then it just crumples the metal of the table and sends the construct into the floor. It kind of causes the stone to crack underneath it. It's kind of a deafening burst, but you manage to kind of catch your hearing back pretty quick. It's laying there kind of buckled into the ground, and it spends a good long time kind of getting itself up. As it's moving, you can notice that it's not moving in kind of a natural form, in that it doesn't seem to care about waist movement. It's spinning on its torso, and its head's moving around to face you, and its eyes start to kind of flare up finally, and it's now kind of glowing that purple color that Celia's eyes glow as well. But its attention isn't on you. It's actually on the paladin. It's going to go ahead and attack the paladin.
AC's 8. 17, because I don't have my shield.
Right. It'll attack you twice with its fists. Again, I didn't have much time to get this stuff ready, but the damage will be slashing, not bludgeoning.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
So that much damage. That's a total of 22 for the first attack. And then its second attack, that'll miss. So just 17 damage. As it basically stands up, it kind of throws an uppercut straight up, like Mortal Kombat style. And then it kind of brings its other arm down, and it swings and kind of cuts into your armor a little bit.
22.
22 damage. And then we'll go to Noonsa. Noonsa will kind of say some words. He's going to move over to, let's see. Weird. He'll just cast Sacred Flame on it. So Dex saving throw. I love playing D&D with myself. Dex saving throw. It's
That D&D out of that would happen. No, I'm kidding.
It succeeds. So you see a bolt of holy, like kind of almost watery energy flow from the ceiling to the floor. It kind of moves, and the automatron kind of backs away and dodges it. Boozer.
All right, this is what he came for, not to talk to fishmen or play with machines. He's going to rush in.
Get it.
He's finally happy.
From here, he's actually going to jump and attack at him.
Oh, make me an acrobatics check real quick.
Could I use athletics instead?
No, it's the ice.
Oh, okay. Well,
I forgot to do it for Chi as well. But
it's going to be bad.
Oh, God.
Oh,
okay,
This is the last time I bring a paladin.
a -1.
you started from here, right? And you're going
Sorry,
here.
from here, I think. Yeah, here.
Okay.
My brow is twitching.
Okay, since I didn't make Chi roll one, I'm going to do it in a hilarity fashion and try and not mess you up as much. I need Chi.
That's okay if you ask me.
No,
This is kind of be a thing.
It's cool. Chi, can you make me a dexterity saving throw?
I could, but it's not going to be pretty.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. Okay. So what ends up happening is, Boozer, you start to move across the ice, and it's a bit slicker than you remember when you were walking across it initially, and you start to power slide straight towards Chi. You hit him in the back of the legs, causing him to go ass over tea kettle, but as you kind of slide and hit that position, you're still where you wanted to end up. You're just prone.
It's not horrible.
And Chi, you're also prone. Okay, you can still attack it from prone if you want. You just have disadvantage on the attack, or you can bonus action dash to stand up.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I was saying that your options are, since you're prone, you can attack it still. You'll just have disadvantage on your attack roll, or you can bonus action dash to be able to stand up.
So I'll do the bonus action, but is that like a special feature?
Sorry, not bonus action. Use your action to dash to stand up.
Oh,
sorry, my brain. When I have a rogue in the party, my brain focuses on cunning actions.
No, I'll just attack it from prone.
Okay.
I'm upset.
All right. So you swing out at its legs. Go ahead. Okay.
I'll attack twice.
You hit with the first attack, and it kind of turns its head and looks down at you with its purple eyes.
It wouldn't be at disadvantage, so 10 hits.
Yeah, no. You hit it, but it doesn't damage.
Oh, sorry.
And then you kind of like think about it, and you're looking up at it, and you kind of like and swing again and hit it in the kneecap. When you do so, it causes its leg to buckle out from underneath it, and it's laying on the ground next to you. It doesn't look like it damaged it as much as you would have liked, in that it seems to have resistance to your attack, but it definitely caused it to fall.
Okay.
All right. So, Sear-Sha, these people keep just stumbling all over around.
No, this Boozer guy. Last time, the only damage he did was on our party member. What I'm gonna do, I'm kind of just hoping it will end it. The brain is surrounded by liquid, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna use shape water because I think I can do two things at once, or I'm allowed two elements at once with shape water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna attempt to, and I'm gonna, say it in Aquan and whatnot, my primordial language because it's my main language. I'm gonna attempt to try to, cave in the brain with the ice itself.
Okay. So I'm going to have it make a Constitution saving throw. And basically, you don't think that you can force the ice into it, but you think you can return it to the state that it was in before you heated up the ice,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So what's your spell save DC? Just for like a regular spell. Your...
14, sorry.
Okay. So I'm going to make a con save against that. Okay, so you guys watch as she reaches down and kind of touches it on its chest as it's kind of laying there on its back, and you see ice kind of just flow down her hand and kind of into the chest, and that rime that was there before she started messing around with it kind of just reforms in its chest, and it lays there inert. But you know the truth of it. It's still active. It's just currently back in its frozen state, and with the temperature and the way that it is here, it may unfreeze on its own in time.
Nice job.
I'm backing away from it, and by all means, smash him.
Okay. If the goal is to just beat the crap out of the thing while it's frozen, I guarantee you that three of you, after a short fashion, are able to...
Well, instead of just pounding on the thing, just break the globe around the brain.
Okay. Yeah, you manage to do that, and you can definitely disrupt the brain inside. No problem.
I'd like to be careful before we do the rest of them here. Are all of them having those weapon-like hands, or any of them like Celia's hand?
So the one in the middle is actually missing a hand, and then the one on the far side appears to have Celia-like hands. Yeah.
The one on the far side has Celia-like hands?
Yeah, this one here.
Okay, we might want to hold off on that one.
I want to go ahead and cast Lay on Hands on myself for 22 points.
Yeah. Perfectly fine.
I just need 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Sure. Shadow, what are you wanting to do? You can see that there's a strange mechanism on the far wall and looks like a very large door.
Yeah, the mechanism would be calling out to Shadow, that's for sure.
Okay. When you get to it, you notice that it has a shape very similar to the weird device that Reyes handed you before he left.
Oh. The device that Reyes handed to me before
It was
he
a
left.
strange box with like 4 leaf points, and he said it kind of looks like it splits in half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So he would sort of take out that box and motion to the others. I call them over.
Okay. I don't know where you're going, but it's over here.
I don't know where I didn't know where you pointed to. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going in whatever, wherever it is. Yeah.
When he gets
It
done,
looks
I'm
like-
going to examine this construct.
Perfectly fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick then.
Go ahead.
So the construct, if you look in Discord, you'll see that there is an image of one of them. The symbol in the center of its head is different than the symbol present on the image there. Do you speak Dwarvish?
No.
Okay. So it looks like a Dwarvish marking, from what you can tell. The construct appears to be kind of just rudimentary. It doesn't really have a lot to it. Kind of wiry arms and just a weird head shape. It looks like it's built for one function, and this one with its bladed hands, you assume is attack.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
No problem. You were kind of standing over Chi as he basically inspected this construct. Do you speak Dwarvish?
I do not.
Okay. So yeah, it has a strange marking on its forehead. It appears that the marking on its forehead is different in style to the one that's on Celia's forehead.
I speak Dwarvish.
Yeah, it's really, as you walk over to it, you kind of feel goofy that they didn't get it because it's the letter A in the Dwarvish alphabet. It's the first letter.
It's A for alcohol.
As he says that, he
That's
says,
A.
"Strange."
The other one's B and C.
Correct. The other ones are B and C. It is 100% accurate.
Since I can shape water from a distance, I'm not going to step close to the one that had Celia-like hands, and I'm going to let my party know that I'm going to try to awaken that one.
Okay. When you go over to that one and start to awaken it, it doesn't seem to manifest. It doesn't seem to kind of open up. And as you kind of look inside of the pool of liquid inside of its chest, first off, the liquid seems like it's low, like there's not a lot of liquid in it or enough liquid in it. And the brain seems to be set off of like the bronze capstone that it sits on, and the wires seem to be kind of moved off of the brain. The brain also appears kind of greenish in specific areas where you don't think that's what it's supposed to.
I think we should just leave it.
I've seen baloney that looked like that once.
Oh.
You are. I'm glad someone actually got exactly where my brain was. Perfectly, exactly the exact that. Yes.
Yeah, we can leave that.
Okay. Shadow.
What about the third one?
Oh, the middle one. So that's the one with the letter B on it in Dwarvish, and it looks like the chassis, the center chassis, is actually empty once you kind of clear the water or ice to water. Doesn't look like this one actually has anything inside of it.
All right, we will meet up with Shadow.
Okay.
I still want some of the steel.
Before they get to it, though, Shadow, you have the key.
Yep.
You know that it looks like it settles in there, but there are these strange markings on the thing that they don't appear to be any alphabet that you're familiar with. They're definitely very strange, but it does look like they make a perception check.
Sure.
From now on, we should just pretend Boozer can read everything here.
From what you can tell, it looks like a compass rose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so
I
each
do.
of them appear to be symbols. The symbols seem to be marking cardinal directions.
Yep.
And you're able to intuit which is north and which is the rest.
Okay. So this looks like it's connected to a device. The device looks like it's somehow connected to the ice or the water, but I don't know what exactly it means. So he asks the others if they have any ideas.
It looks like you can set the key into the center point of the wheel.
Where does the thing from the wheel lead off to? Sorry.
The wheel looks like go ahead.
No, it looks like it leads to this device that I'm pinging, and that seems to be set near where there's the water or ice, and so it must be controlling or somehow manipulating. Am I off?
Sounds about right. The hip bone is connected to the leg bone.
Yeah.
Sear-Sha, go ahead and make me just a perception check as well. So it looks like the water that's actually on the ground here and kind of flowing across the chamber there. It's not really flowing because it's solid ice, but it looks like it's runoff from the device. Looks like the device has water going to it, and it's kind of spilling out and causing it freezing.
Okay. I'm going to back up if Shadow wants to go ahead and try to turn it.
Okay. I like the way you back away. Nice.
What are you
I just got
standing behind
grabbed.
me for?
Okay, so Shadow will try to insert the device.
Do I look like a shield?
How are you inserting it? Again, I told you
You
know
submit-
on the
right.
device which north is.
Right.
How would you like to place it?
Is there any... So I know that there's north on the device itself, but not on the key?
Correct. So basically the device that you have, or the key that you have, settles into the wheel. The key that you have has the cardinal directions on it, and you've deciphered which one is what you think is north because it's bigger than the other three.
Right.
Which way is north for you in settling it into the wheel?
So there's no indication of that on the wheel itself with the size of the wheel, like
With
a
your
slot.
With your perception check, the only thing that you can see that would discern like a different direction would be the door.
What is actually north?
Do you have a means of discerning that?
No, I'm asking the party. Does the party know which way is north?
The opposite of south.
Yeah, it's 100% correct. It is the opposite of south.
Seeing as I can't correct, though, I'm going to just nod along, I guess.
Loser points out. Gain inspiration.
So
Sorry.
is there a way? Hold on a second.
I think no one's got the wandering back around here.
No, so I'm just trying to figure this out. Is there a way that we can?
You know what spell would be really great in a time like
we
this?
can. What?
Druidcraft.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So there's nothing that's magnetic on our people, on our persons?
if you start kind of like fidgeting around with it, you would note that the box that you're holding the key, it's magnetic.
Great. So how about we tie a string to the box and lower it, a little ways down to see if it moves towards north?
Okay. Make me a nature check. I know what you're trying to do, but I'm just going to see if you're going to be doing it right.
I'm not doing it right.
So you do it just the way you described, and it just kind of dangles in the air and spins.
So Shadow sort of looks confused to some of the others. Can anyone? You know what I'm trying to do here, right?
Yeah, hold on.
I got it. Give it to me.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Stand back.
Okay.
At this, I literally stand far back because I don't trust Boozer.
You hand it to Boozer, and Boozer has it. He has the key, and it's got a string attached to it.
I'm just gonna put it in.
Okay, which way is the
5%
big?
chance.
What is the big way the letter's direction? The big this letter's pointing.
I'll point at it.
Is it pointing towards the door, towards the wall that you're currently adjacent to? It's pointing that way?
Yeah.
Okay. It settles in. Then what do you do?
I turn the wheel.
It doesn't move.
I take it out. I
It
put it
doesn't
a
seem
different
to be.
direction.
It doesn't seem to be coming out very easily. It
Oops.
seems to be kind of settled in there and kind of like magnetically locked in its position.
Oh boy.
But
Well, we can't have nice things.
you think
I
that
take my dagger out and I try to jimmy it out.
Okay. Go ahead and just make me a strength athletics check as you try to crowbar it out.
Loser, you're the reason I had 2 dads.
You managed to pop it out.
Ouch.
You managed to pop it out, but you also managed to break your blade. Your dagger is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the shards of the tip of it stick to the box.
I'll just pick those out.
Okay.
So it's not that way. Put it back.
We got something that's magnetic, right?
The box.
The box.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I take one of the shards from his knife. Okay. I take some of the paper from my ration kit. I put the shard, the metal shard, because it's now magnetized, on the edge of the paper and set it in the water and watch it spin till it hits north.
Okay, so you pour out a little bit of water because, again, it's solid ice, but you manage to make a pool of it and you put it out there on that. Okay, and just make me a nature check.
You know that military survival training coming in.
Nice job.
So similar in kind to Shadow, like you have a sound idea, but the piece of paper that you've used for this concept, it's a little thinner than you wanted, and it kind of syncs with the dagger point, and it's not kind of settling the way you wanted it to. You know what you want to do, you just don't know how to do what you want to do.
Anybody got anything else better than
Process. We only have 3 more choices. Just keep doing it. So I'll put it back in and pointing that way now.
Okay.
Do you have 3 more daggers?
You put it in, and
Don't try to turn it.
It settles into position, and then you try to turn it.
Yep.
Okay. It starts to spin.
Haha! Told you guys.
Yep. You also hear that there's a lot of kind of thrushing water in the device. And Chi, you're kind of standing over next to the water there, the ice water, and you can see that the ice is very quickly melting. Very quickly melting.
What's hot water, bro?
Like, it's starting to steam up where you're kind of standing at very quickly. Is there anything you want to do as that's happening?
Yeah, get the hell away from it.
Okay, and anything else besides? That's it?
Hold on, I'm looking through my thing.
No, not so much in actions or anything, just verbal things. But since you said nothing,
yeah,
they don't catch on quick enough. Shadow and Boozer, both of you make a dexterity saving throw.
I can do that.
Sorry, my brain's not going that fast.
Perfectly fine. All right. And
Wait a minute, I did say hot water.
fair enough, but fair enough. I'll give them advantage, but they're still taking the shot. Fair enough. Hot water. What do you mean? Oh, okay, and so it'll be kind of like that. Nice in between. All right. That said, if you failed, which neither of you did, DC was 15. You guys had advantage for it. You'll take the full. If you didn't, you take half. That's fire damage. As the pipes rupture and the device seems to shoot steam straight out of it. It also seems to be shooting steam out of the keyhole, which causes the metal box to fly aside and kind of hit the ground. And you can't uncanny dodge it. It's not an attack.
Ah!
It also sends a lot of that steam into the door.
I told you guys to stand back.
And the door pops open.
Okay.
Is the steam still going where the door is?
Yeah, and it also kind of burned out too, like in this pool area here. And as the steam clears, you see Noonsa kind of laying on his back with his feet straight up in the air and his arms straight up in the air, and he's completely like blackened, like you just roasted a fish over a fire.
Hey, kitty, there's a fish.
Oh, is he gone? I'm gonna rush over to him.
He doesn't appear dead. He just appears knocked unconscious and slightly charged.
Gotta get back up.
Healing hands for 5 points.
Okay. Yeah, he gets back up, but he kind of just lays there for a while and groggily, unsettled by the affair. All right, you guys are moving into the next chamber, right?
Well, we don't want to leave Noonsa behind. I don't feel like.
Okay, so you guys will drag him along. That's fine. Regardless, as you guys enter into it, you enter into a old, dusky chamber. This chamber doesn't appear to have any shred of condensation other than the small amount of steam water and ice is kind of flecked out from the door. There are two tables out on the in the center of the room. There appears to be a completely golden construct sitting on one table, and on the other table, just the skeleton of a person. On the wall opposite of where you enter, there are two desks and what appear to be three kind of stone seats. The desks have paperwork just settled all about them, and there are a total of 4 books on the tables as well. And then there's a large chest that appears to have a very large lock set to it. It doesn't appear that there's a key anywhere present.
Can I see what languages the books are in?
Sure. So Chi moves over to start inspecting the books.
Well, I'm gonna stop him there. Before we do anything, I want to know if this construct can move. So.
Oh, good point. Yo, construct, can you move?
You go over to the construct and inspect it, Sear-Sha, and she's kind of moving over to the books and just stopped by you.
Yeah.
Boozer, you're moving over to the construct as well?
Yeah. Also, I killed 10.
I want to keep one eye on the books, one eye on her.
Okay. What were you saying, Kai?
I used 20 lay on hands, 10 for me and Shadow.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good deal. And Shadow, what are you doing? I'm assuming treasure chest, but that's
Treasure chest.
Okay. Boozer and Sear-Sha, you move over to the golden construct, and just based on the frame of the construct, you're pretty sure that it's worth about 2,000 gold pieces just by itself. At least 2,000 gold pieces just up on the gold frame of it alone. As you,
I could put some of that stuff in my weapon. Like a look party.
as you are inspecting the chassis, the center portion, you see that it's empty. There's no fluid inside or anything to that effect. Instead, there's just kind of a weird kind of glow to the interior.
Before I take a closer look, what did the hands on this one look like?
This one has just regular hands.
Okay.
It looks like it has a total of 12 fingers per hand.
12 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because Boozer can take a hit better than me, I'm gonna ask if he can have a closer look in there.
Yeah, you look inside, and it just has kind of this strange, eerie glow to the interior of its chassis. As you're kind of inspecting it, its eyes light up yellow, and it looks at you, but it doesn't seem to be menacing. It just kind of turns its head. I guess that is kind of menacing, so it can't really fight that. But yeah, it just turns its head and looks at you. What do you do?
Does it get me?
Yeah, he turns his head to look at you with golden eyes. The droid. The droid. The automaton.
I'll just stare at him back.
Okay. While that's happening, Chi, you're kind of making your way over to that first set of writing there. there's a single piece of parchment out there, and as you kind of look to it, the writing appears to be Dwarvish.
And the books appear the same.
The books will probably appear to be the same. Yes.
All right, I will let Shadow's the one that reads Dwarvish, right?
Nope.
Boozer.
I do.
Boozer. All right, I'll let Boozer know. I'll let everybody know, but
I'm having a
Okay.
staring contest right now.
It actually, after looking at you for a short duration, its strange metal mouth opens, and you're about to say, well, these are in Dwarvish, and you kind of look over and see what's happening, and it says, who are you that have entered my cell?
Uh-oh.
okay. I'm gonna go up here, uncover my left arm, and say, "Where is everybody?"
Okay. It's still looking at Boozer. It doesn't even seem to pay attention to you. And it's speaking to the dwarf in Dwarvish, actually.
Oh, so I don't even understand.
Yeah, it would be gibberish.
I'll just say Boozer. Nice to meet you.
And these are your friends? And it turns its head like almost 180 degrees to look back at Chi, and then kind of like tilts its head to look up at you.
I'll wave at it with my left arm.
I
You guys-
suppose.
Probably haven't seen this, but Chi's left arm seems to be kind of coated in metal. Like it looks like his arm is made completely out of metal. And
Is he a friend or a foe, Boozer?
He just asked me who I was. He seems friendly so far. Plus, he's made of gold.
you have come to this place for treasure, for knowledge, or for glory.
Glory.
For glory. You have entered into the factory for glory. Do you wish to be changed?
No, I'm just trying to get stronger.
Then do you wish to be changed?
Sure.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
No.
We don't know this, so they're speaking Dwarvish.
It's the Aboleth.
If you so wish to be changed, then you must lay on the altar of the method. And it moves its hand and kind of slaps it onto the other table. And then we will
No,
become
I don't want to
one.
be changed in that way.
Wait. What's he slapping the table for?
So that he can have the method.
I don't understand him, do I?
Oh, no, yeah, and it doesn't understand you, so I'm sorry.
No, I was asking Boozer. Sorry.
Okay.
I guess I'll let everyone know what he's been saying. If anyone wants to be like Celia, now's their chance. I politely.
I got enough metal parts as it is. Thank you.
It then looks to Boozer. Understand this. If you wish to live forever inside of this golden frame, all you must do is lay upon the altar of the method.
Can we put the fish dude on the altar?
The fish dude's not dead; he's fine. But yeah, if you refuse at this point, it closes its eyes. I shut off the light wise, and it just lays. It just remains laying there.
Yeah, forever's a little too long for me.
I don't want to knock on its head.
But the thing that you start to think about, though, is the way it said it. It doesn't sound like the person that's placed on the bed needs to technically be alive to be put to it. So if you or one of your allies were to die, this might be a method to bring them back.
Does it have to stay in this room, though, or can we take this, like, is it whole machinery that's in here?
It seems that the tables in here are different than the tables in the other chamber. As you can see, they kind of have like a riveting on the edges, and they're actually kind of settled and bolted into the floor. It looks like the method, if you take the tables and stuff, they're not going to work. So if someone dies, you might bring them here.
Okay.
Put them in that gold body. So the books. The big piece of parchment is a divine scroll. It's actually a divine scroll of Call Lightning, I think it's called. Let's make sure I got my brain right. Yeah. Call Lightning, which is technically a druid spell, but the way it's written is a divine scroll. So it can be cast by anybody who can perform that level of spell. Or you can attempt an arcana or a religion check to try and cast it if you don't have the ability to cast that level of spell.
We'll probably find somebody to copy that down and can make copies of it.
As a scroll, the divine scroll, yeah, you could use the normal in methods for creating scrolls to create scrolls, but if you can't cast it, you can't copy it into different scrolls. You'd have to be able to cast Call Lightning first to be able to make those scrolls. But yeah, you have a scroll of Call Lightning, and then the other papers that are out and about, they appear to be just detailed drawings that seem to be kind of heightened from what you recall reading in the method boozer. And it looks like there's a final note that's kind of setting off to the side of the book, which is just another copy of the method. The parchment says, we will begin looking for subjects in the whole. But the way the whole is written, it appears that the whole is a name. And hold on a second. So to you, it's not so much that it's referring to an actual whole. It's referring to a place that's been named the whole, or Auges in Dwarvish.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll gather up all the books here and just give it to Malech when I get back to count.
Okay. One of the books is a spell book, though, and it does not appear to be written in Dwarvish. It actually appears to be written in just kind of a strange common magic tongue.
Anything I would recognize?
So if you have Arcana trained, you can kind of decipher the common alphabet and the way that it's being used to kind of denote spell. Okay, go ahead and make an Arcana check. Perfect. So you actually start to inspect the book, and you realize that it's not actually just a book. It is what is known in kind of arcane methodology as a tome. And tomes aren't so much for having spells kept in them. They're kind of a repository for a single spell. And through reading the tome, you are gifted the knowledge of the magic. It becomes it becomes a spell that you know. It's an additional known spell.
Okay, that's not bad.
If you were to spend some time reading this book, you might be able to gain the knowledge within and add it to your spells known category. The spell in question for this one is also Call Lightning.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay. Yep. And treasure chest time. You gonna pick that lock?
I would love to try.
Give it a go.
I will put my hand on his shoulder to yank him back just in case.
Snatch that cat of being a baddie. Okay, no, he's pretty darn good. You hear a pick-pock, click-click. He kind of deals with what looks like a small poison trap without even really noticing that it was there, and opens the lid of the trunk. Inside, you see a very large bed of what appears to be kind of a glittering sand. And Shadow, you would recognize this as residuum.
Oh, money.
And you would presume, just based on what you see here and what you gained from the last one, there appears to be about 1,000 gold pieces worth of residuum present in the pit. But sitting on it.
What does residuum do?
So residuum is basically magical currency or used for creation of magical items. Basically, you can give it to the NPCs in the cavern camp to have them craft you stuff, or if you want to attempt to craft stuff yourself, which I believe you do, you basically can pay a magic item's residuum cost, spend a little bit of time working at it to create a magic item.
All right, and I want to ask Shadow, could I keep a little bag of that?
Well, so like always, we'll split everything equally, right?
Mm-hmm. But the thing that, sorry, there's one last thing. There's sitting on top of the residuum is a small hammer. It has a decent sized head to it, probably about the size of a warhammer head-wise, but it has kind of a smaller shaft than a warhammer would. It looks like a blacksmith's hammer.
I would know this if it is, right?
If you've ever worked in a forge, you would know that it looks like a very, yeah, it looks like a heavy blacksmith's hammer. A very heavy blacksmith's hammer. All right. If you guys, so basically, real quick, we're kind of getting to a close here, because you guys are going through a dungeon that was supposed to be a one-timer, and I kind of stretched it out a little bit.
Sure.
What you guys would be gaining is a total of 750 experience for the 2 encounters, the kuo-toa and the automaton. You said you wanted to drag a couple of the bodies back of the automatons, right?
I would like to just have some of the metal off of it. Yeah.
Okay. You can pull off a couple of the plates of the barrel chests. The back ends are the best bits because they're just solid sheets of steel. They gain 5 sheets of steel. Go ahead.
The big gold construct, how heavy is he?
Probably around 700, 800 pounds.
Because I'm just thinking, I mean, we could leave him here, and if we know someone will die, we'll bring him back. But what's likely we're not going to run into somebody else against us that's going to do the same thing. So I don't know if I want to leave him here, I guess.
Yeah.
I have a feeling if we try to move him, he's not going to like it.
You feel like you could, if you were to take this thing out of here, it would probably ruin the effect.
Didn't he say something about what are you doing in my prison?
Yeah, he did say that. But from what Boozer can kind of intuit from its dialogue, it didn't seem like it was sentient. It's kind of like talking to Data.
Or my ex-wife.
But
Ouch.
Zing. That said, though, if you want to take the body, you could probably sell it for 2,000 gold pieces.
Not necessarily sell it, but keep it back at camp. Should someone die, we could always bring it back, is what I'm thinking. I'd rather us have it than some random, who knows what else is left in this mines,
Based on your just arcana and what we've kind of rolled, just so you don't have to roll again, you know that if you remove it from its position, it's probably going to ruin the effect. So you won't be able to bring it back and do what you need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is. I personally would not like to live on as a golem, so I will leave it to you guys. Would you guys like to sell it or leave it here for future use?
I want to just leave it. I think it's like a free res in case someone needs it.
Yeah, or you can just ask people in the camp if they want to become a golem. Do you not care about your life that much?
Yeah! And then Uro comes back later with a nice golden seal.
Well, I could always use this chamber as a interrogation chamber.
Fair enough. That said, I'll make sure I get the handouts for the books for everybody, specifically Malik, so he has those for further information. The main piece of information that you gained is that there's a place where they were intending to gain more subjects, and the place is known as Augez, which it seems that it's listing as a prison, the city's prison. So it seems that they were going to stop using the current subjects that they used in this portion or this factory and start using others in maybe a different factory. You don't think that this is the only place in the city where they perform these forms?
Question for you, because we're trying to figure out the scroll here. I know it's a divine scroll, but if I use the tome and I learn Call Lightning, can I use the scroll even though it's divine, or no?
The scroll is divine. It has to be used by a divine spellcaster, wizard, or like a religious caster.
Right.
And then the tome is for wizards or sorcerers, what have you. Basically, the reason why it's done that way is when it comes to like arcane casters, like a scroll in their hands is fine. They're going to just copy it into their books. So to kind of break that and make it useful for sorcerers, warlocks, and the like, it's a known spell acquisition. And then the divine scroll, religious casters, if they have Call Lightning in their itinerary, they're already going to be able to do it. But it's a free use of the casting for them.
Yeah, I think Farron's the only one I can think of right now.
Right. Yeah, Farron. Well, the paladins, once they're able to cast third level spells, could use that divine scroll, or even before then, they can make a religion check and attempt to use the scroll. Yeah, if you make a religion check and the DC, I believe, is that works too. But that said, you guys acquire that stuff. I'll also if you guys want to write a follow-up post, mention the kuo-toa. There's a total of 11 of them. That's including Noonsa. And they basically will join the cavern camp. And if in the future anybody wants to attempt to play a kuo-toa character, I doubt that'll happen. But it is now an option, as that you have kuo-toa to pull from for that character.
They're gonna start mysteriously disappearing.
I know. I'm gonna start having to smell Shadow's breath every time he comes back.
Every Friday, for some reason, we have a fish fry.
Shadow's no longer starving.
Any questions for me before I close it out?
So Noonsa's coming back with us too, or is he still?
Yeah, Noonsa's coming back with you. He's a little beat up, but he's not dead.
Yeah, okay.
He got like steam fried and like he had X's for eyes for a second, and he was just like smelled really good to the cat. Basically,
he was poached.
Yeah, Shadow was like running around like clawing at the counter space and mewling, wanting you to give him the tuna out of the can. It's good that you did that. I gave you your 750 experience. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. I know this one wasn't terribly long because you guys were just finishing up the quest in this spot. But that said, you do have a couple of forward lead points, and this is more for the people who are watching as well. Augez is going to be a pretty decent-sized dungeon. So that might be something you guys want to investigate in the future. And I'll be entering in Noonsa as a camp cavern NPC. All right, killing the stream. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Hey, thanks folks for including me. I'd love to go again.